Welcome to my class today. My name is Melanie Badger, and I'm so happy that you're here today to join in our practice. Today we're going to focus on core strength, and we're going to definitely work on our inner strength spiritually, physically, and emotionally. We're going to try and cover all aspects today, so I hope you're ready. Today's mudra is called the Ganesh mudra. Ganesh is a Hindu god that you may have seen online or in art, possibly, and he has the appearance of an elephant with several arms. And Ganesh symbolizes um, removing obstacles. He's a remover of obstacles and sometimes even places obstacles in front of us so that we can learn and we can help ourselves as well. So, the Ganesh Mudra, take your left palm and face it upwards, mid chest. Take your right palm, put it over top, and link your palms together. Now, next, we're going to put a little bit of tension there, but not a lot. And we're going to connect ourself with the universe and with the earth. And just for a moment, we're just going to focus on our breathing. And we are going to get into the mind space of our practice today. Let's get rid of all the clutter and just focus on our practice. Close your eyes. Hold that mudra. Focus on your breath in through your nose, into the belly, mid-chest, upper chest. And let it out of your mouth. And let's sit in this space for a moment, focusing on your breath at your own pace. Be aware of the earth beneath you, the energy of the earth. Visualize it rising up through each chakra, straight through to your crown, filling you with peace and love and understanding. A couple more breaths here as we hold the Ganesh Mudra. Keep your eyes closed. And at the ring of the cymbals, we're ready to begin. So first today, we are going to begin in child's pose with our arms extended in front of us. Remember child's pose? We have the tops of our feet flat to the ground. Extend your arms. Feel free to modify if this pose is not in your practice today. Feel free to touch your third eye to the earth as your arms are extended in front of you. If you're unable to do this, don't feel like you have to touch your head all the way down to the ground if it's not in your practice. It's completely fine. Do what makes you feel good. And just remember that sensation and pain are two different things. Let's hold this child's pose here for just a moment. Remember to breathe in through the belly, mid-chest, upper chest, through the nose, and out the mouth. Let's repeat this for 3 more breaths. Continuing to feel the energy of the earth beneath us. And now we're going to go up into table. Come up slowly. Keep your arms shoulder width apart and your knees shoulder width apart. Try and keep your back parallel to the earth. Pull in that belly. Keep your fingers spread wide, gripping the mat. And we're just going to hold this here for a moment as we breathe. If you're unable to hold this pose, feel free to go back into child's pose at any time. Bring your knees up to the center of the mat and bring them together and just slide back into a kneeling position. And we're going to bring our hands up to heart center into prayer. Continuing to focus on our breath. We are so thankful to be here on this earth. We are so thankful for this lifetime where we can learn and grow. And we are thankful for Ganesh and the lessons he teaches us. And we are so thankful that he moves obstacles that are in our way. Okay, and release your hands, and we're going to go back up into table. Arms shoulder width apart. Knees shoulder width apart. The tops of your feet flat to the mat. Drop the head. We're going to hold this here for 3 breaths. Building strength in our arms and shoulders. And we're going to be working on our core here in just a little while. Pull in that lower belly a little. Feel the sensation in your arms as we're holding this pose. If at any time it gets uncomfortable, feel free to go back into child's pose. And now we're going to go back down into child's pose. Stretch those arms way out in front of you. Gripping the mat, touching our third eye to the earth. Keeping your knees about a foot apart. Feet flat to the mat. If this is uncomfortable, feel free to go back into the sitting position. If this is not in your practice today, or even raise your head up a little, go up onto your elbows, if that serves you. breath here. Make your way back up into table pose. And here we're going to do 3 rounds of cat and cow. Drop the head. Create space by making a curvature of your upper back, keeping your elbows soft. And cow. Drop the belly, raise the head. We're going to do this 2 more times. Pull in that lower belly. Continue to breathe. And straighten that back out. We're going to go back into table here. From here, we're going to lift our right arm. Raise your hand above your head. Turn your gaze towards the hand. And we're going to hold this here for just a moment. Feel free to go back into table at any time if this is uncomfortable for you. Breathe into the belly, mid-chest, upper chest. And release back down into table. And we're going to do this 2 more times with the right arm. Hold here for just a few more seconds. Breathe. Take a big deep breath in. Back into table. One more time with our right arm. Turn your head all the way to the sky. Look at those tips of your fingers. Breathing. And back down into table. Now we're going to work on the left arm. Raise that left arm up into the sky, keeping a softness in your elbow. Turning your gaze towards the tips of your fingers. Back down into table. If at any time you need to modify and go back into your sitting position, feel free to do whatever is in your practice today. Left arm up. Keep those fingers together. Turning your gaze towards your hand. Breathe in and out. Breathe in. Back into table. And we're going to work on this left arm one more time. Raise the left arm up. Breathe in, back down to table. Now we're going to go back into child's pose. And this time we're going to pull our arms all the way back with the tops of your hands flat to the mat. Keeping your third eye to the earth. Breathe in and out through the mouth. Relaxing your shoulders. Should feel a nice stretch here. And rise back up, back into table. And we're going to swing around into the sitting position. Slide back maybe about halfway on your mat, maybe just a little bit more. Extend both legs. Keep them about a shoulders width apart. Extend your arms straight out in front of you. Gently fall back and raise the legs into boat. If at any time this is not in your practice, feel free to go back up into the sitting position, putting your hands in prayer possibly. We're going to hold this. Raise the legs. If that's in your practice, go up a little higher. Breathe. And release. Taking a big breath. Sit up tall. Keep that sits bone flat to the earth. And we're going to go back into boat again. Arms straight out. Gently lean back. And when you feel ready, lift up those legs off the ground. Keeping your feet together. Hold this. Raise the legs, however you feel comfortable. Go a little higher. And release. Hands to your knees. Breathe in. Breathe out. And we're going to go back into boat one more time. Arms straight out. Gently lean back. When you're ready, lift those legs and hold. Raise the legs. Go a little higher. Again, if this is not in your practice today, feel free to go back up into the sitting position. And release. Hands to the knees. And we're going to go back up into a sitting position. Next, we're going to do a forward fold. Arms in front of you. Third eye to the earth. We're going to repeat this 3 times. Again, if this is not in your practice today, feel free to go down only as far as you feel comfortable. Breathe in and out. Relax your shoulders. And instead of using our arms to lift us up, we're going to use our core. Use your core to rise up. Hands back on the knees. Back down into a forward fold. Arms stretched out in front of you. About halfway. Breathing here. Relaxing the shoulders. We're going to inhale using our core to lift ourselves up. Exhale. Hands on the knees. And we're going to do this one more time. Forward fold. Arms about halfway out in front of you. Third eye to the earth. Breathing in and out. You should feel a little stretch in your lower back. On the inhale, using your core to lift yourself up without your arms to help. Next, we're going to make our way back into the table. We're going to hold this here for 3 breaths. Remember to keep your arms shoulder width apart, fingers spread, gripping the mat, knees shoulder width apart, feet flat to the mat. If this becomes difficult for you, feel free to go back into sitting position or child's pose. Pull in that lower belly. And we're going to make our way into downward dog. Curl those toes underneath of you. And lift into downward dog. Pedal those heels. If you can get your heels down to the mat flat, that's great. If it is not in your practice today, that is completely fine too. You just do what makes you comfortable. And let's hold this position here. Now you're going to walk your feet up in between your hands, one at a time. Bring the hands back. Keep them flat to the ground in a forward fold. Drop the head. Softness in your elbows and a softness in your knees. We're just going to hold this here for a couple breaths. going to lift into a half lift, keeping the tips of your fingers to the mat. Keep a softness in your knees. If this pose is not accessible to you, feel free to stand up in mountain pose. Breathe in as we go back down into a forward fold. Feet together. Fingers spread on the mat. Softness in the elbows and in the knees. Breathe. You should feel a nice stretch in the back of your thighs. And up into a half lift. Breathing in and out. Back down into forward fold. Drop the head. Soften the elbows. Soften the knees. If this is not accessible, feel free to go back up into the half lift or into mountain pose. One more breath. And back up into half lift. Now we're going to slowly roll the spine up into mountain pose. Feet about shoulder width apart, arms straight to the side. Root the heels into the ground. Feel the earth beneath you and the energy she provides. Breathing. As we go into chair pose. Lift those arms straight up above your head. Look up at them as you go back into a seated position. If this is not accessible, feel free to go back into mountain pose at any time if this is not in your practice. Back up into mountain. We're going to do this 2 more times. Chair pose. Pull in that lower belly. Breathe. Into the belly. Mid-chest, upper chest, and exhale. And back into mountain pose. Keeping a softness in your knees. Don't lock your knees. Back into chair pose. We're going to hold this here for a couple breaths. And back up into mountain. Bring your foot about a foot forward. And your right leg, left leg up front, forward, facing forward. And your right leg at a 90-degree angle. And we're going to go into Warrior One. Remember to please keep your knee above your toes, but don't let it go past your toes. And bring those arms straight up into Warrior One. Hold. Breathe in as we bring our hands down to heart center. In prayer, holding this position with our legs, not letting the knee extend over the toes. Check out your back leg. Make sure you have a softness in both knees and your right foot is at a 90-degree angle. And let's raise those arms back up. Breathe, looking at the sky or ceiling, wherever you are today. Back into prayer. Raise those elbows up. Back up into Warrior One. And back into prayer. Next, we're going to twist to the right, bringing your left elbow to the inside of your left knee. Breathing. Again, if this is not in your practice, feel free to go back to mountain pose. Holding this here, focusing on your breath. Keep those heels rooted. And back up into Warrior One with prayer hands. And here we go for another twist. Revolving Warrior. Holding here, breathing. Into the nose and out through the mouth. Breathing in. Right back up. And we're going to make this twist into Revolving Warrior one more time. Left elbow touching the inside of your left knee. Breathing, keeping those feet rooted. And back up. Now we're going to bring our right foot back up. And we're back into mountain pose. This time we're going to keep our right foot forward. And we're going to bring our left foot back parallel. We're going to raise our arms into Warrior One. Remember, let's keep that right knee in line with our toes, not letting the knee go past the toes. Let's bring our hands down to the heart center in the prayer position. As we twist, bringing our right elbow to the inside of our right knee. Breathing. And back up into prayer. Let's keep those elbows raised. Bring your knee forward, but not going over the toes. breathing as we hold this position. And let's go for revolving warrior again. Breathing in and out as we hold, keeping our feet rooted. And back up into prayer. Keep your back legs straight, but a softness in the knee. We don't want to lock our knees. Keep checking in on your knees to make sure that they are not locked and that your knee is not going over your toes. And we're going to go for a twist one more time. Touch your right elbow to your inner right knee. Breathing. And back up. And back into mountain pose. We're going to turn this way on the mat. Feet about 2 feet apart, if that feels comfortable for you. And we're going to go into a star pose. Both arms extended, palms with the fingers spread. I'm going to hold this here for a moment. As we go into the goddess pose. Feel free to hold your mudra, whichever you like. If this is not accessible for you, go back into star pose. We're going to hold this here for a moment. And back into star. Arms straight, parallel. Breathing. Keeping your feet at a slight angle. And back down into goddess. Pull in that lower belly. And back into star. We're going to do this one more time. Hold. If you need to go back into mountain pose, feel free if this is not accessible to you right now. And down into goddess. Lifting those heels up off the ground. If that's accessible to you. If not, put them back down flat. And back into star. And now we're going to go back into mountain. Turning this way back on our mat. Feet about shoulder width apart. Arms straight down to the side. Just taking in this moment. Breathing. Feeling the energy of the earth beneath you. Rooting ourselves into the earth. Let's just raise our hands up to our hips for a moment. Opening the heart. Feeling the heat within our core. Acknowledging our strength. Breathing. Pulling in that lower belly. Exhale. Drop those arms back down into mountain. Let's do this one more time. Hands on your hips, loosely. Open the chest. Chin up. Breathing. And drop the arms back down into mountain. Shaking out your fingers. Moving them. We are alive. Hands back up on the hips. Open the chest. We have a strong core. We're feeling that today. As we keep our feet shoulder width apart, and we're going to drop our hands back down into mountain pose. And then we're just going to raise the arms straight up, keeping your head straight. Don't look up at your hands this time. Just feel the stretch from the earth to the sky. Pull in that lower belly slightly, keeping a softness in your knees. Don't lock your knees here. And back down to the side. We're going to do this 2 more times. Raise the arms up. Breath in, breath out. And back down into mountain. One more time. Raise the arms up over your head. Straight over your head, keeping your fingers together as if they are blades of grass. Feel free to make your grass wave a little bit. Whatever you feel comfortable with. And back down into mountain. And now we're going to go, I'm just going to move up just a little bit here. And we're going to go into chair. This time we're going to hold our hands straight out in front of us. Holding this here. If this is not in your practice, feel free to go back to mountain pose. Pull in that lower belly. And using our core, we're going to go back into mountain. 2 more times here, back into chair pose, arms extended out in front of you. And back into mountain. One more time. And back into mountain. Now we are going to root our left foot, bringing our right foot up to our knee. Keep a softness in your left knee as we hold this half lotus. Do not let your left knee go over your toe. Breathing. Remember, there's a little bend in your left knee. Do not lock that knee. And keep your right foot at the knee. Bring those elbows up. And let's go back down into mountain. And we're going to do this 2 more times on this side. Bring the leg up to the knee. Softness in the left knee. Oh, I'm having a little trouble here. There we go. Give a softness in that left knee. Elbows up. Shoulders square. Breathe. And back down into mountain. We're going to do that side 1 more time before switching over to the other. Right foot on the left knee. Hands in prayer. Softness in that left knee. Pull in that lower belly as you breathe. Elbows up, shoulders square. Head straight. Don't be looking down. And back into mountain. Now we're going to go over to the next side. Standing half lotus. Now we're going to bring our left foot up to our right knee. Maybe. Keeping a softness in your right knee. Let's bring our hands up to prayer. If it's in your practice, feel free to raise your arms. If not, bring them back down to here. If this becomes difficult for you, feel free to go back into mountain pose at any time. And back down into mountain. And we're going to do this 2 more times with this side. Foot on the right knee. Softness in the right knee. Hands to heart center in prayer. Holding this here for a moment. Rooting that right foot down into the earth. Keep that belly pulled in. Breathe. And back down into mountain. One more time here. Bring that foot to the right knee. Hands in prayer at your heart center. Holding this here. And half lotus. Back down into mountain. And we are going to go back down into chair, this time with our arms raised above our head. We're going to do this 3 times. Spread your feet shoulder width apart. Arms up into the chair pose. Now we're going to bring our arms over to the right with a slight twist. Arms parallel to the earth. Holding in that lower belly. Staying in the slight seated position. And then back up to the front. A slight twist. And back up above our head. One more time. Twist. And back up above our heads. As we go to the other side. Staying in this chair pose. And back up above our heads. Swing that arm around. Twist, looking over your left shoulder. If this is accessible to you. And back up. One more time. Twist. And back up. And back into mountain pose. Down into a sitting position. Scoot back to about the middle of your mat here. You're going to clasp the back of your arms in behind you this way. So like this, only behind you. And into a forward fold. Touching our third eye to the earth. Breathe. If this is not accessible to you, feel free to stay in a seated position with your hands in prayer at heart center. Or go down just as far as you feel comfortable. Using our core, we're going to float back up. And back down. Feeling the stretch in your lower back. Using our core to lift ourselves back up slowly. Breathing in and out. Forward fold. Relaxing those shoulders. Feeling the stretch. After all we did for ourselves today, for our core, for our soul and our spirit. Use that core to rise back up again. Now we are going to slide down here slightly so we can get all of us on the mat as we go into corpse pose. Keeping your arms flat to your side. Relax those back muscles. Raise the arms up above your head. Holding that here for just a moment. And back down to your side. Arms back up. Breathing in. Feeling every muscle relax. Back down to your side. And let's lift those arms up over our head one more time. Into the belly, mid-chest, upper chest, and exhale. Bringing our arms back down to the side. Pull in your right knee. Hug it in with your fingers clasped. Hold here. Breathing. And straighten it back out. Now let's hug in that left knee. Pull that into your chest, clasping your hands. Pull it in a little bit more, feeling that stretch. Breathing in and out. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Big breath in. Let it out. And back down into corpse pose. Now we're going to bring both knees up. Hug them in with your arms. Pull those knees into your chest. Feel free to rock back and forth if that serves you. Now we're going to lift the head up off the mat. We're going to hold this here for just a moment. Breathing. If this is not in your practice, feel free to lay back down on the mat at any time. And back down. And raise that head back up, hugging those knees in. Breathe. Hold that here. Raising your chin. And back down. We're going to do this one more time. Raise your head. Hold. Holding here. And back down. Let go of your knees. Bring your hands down to your side with your palms flat to the mat. And just raise your legs straight above you. Holding here. Breathing. If this is not in your practice, feel free to go back into corpse pose or bring your knees back into your chest at any time. Holding here for just a moment. One more breath. And let's go into happy baby. Grab the bottoms of your feet. Lift up that lower back slightly off the mat. Rock a little back and forth. Feeling each muscle relaxing as we prepare for Savasana. And let's lower back down into corpse pose. If it's more comfortable for you to keep your legs up, feel free to do that as well. If not, straighten them back out, keeping your hands to your side or possibly on your belly, resting on your chest here. Normally, if this was a in-person class, this would be the time where I would walk around and offer essential oils to all of you to rub on the palms of your hands, and then you would be directed to rub your palms together and get that oil warm. Hold it to your face and breathe it in, or just hold it to your neck or to your chest or your heart center. Breathing in nature of this earth so that we can relax and be grounded. And normally I would ask for everyone to lay in Savasana for about 5 minutes. After that, as everyone continues to relax in Savasana, after the 5 minutes, I will have a reading for everyone, and I'm going to read it here right now. This is from the Gita. The image of God is found essentially and personally in all mankind. Each possesses it whole, entire, and undivided, and all together, not more than one alone. In this way, we're all one, intimately united in our eternal image, which is the image of God and the source in us of all our life. As you begin to feel sensations in your fingers and toes, wiggle them back and forth as you come back. Feel free to sit up at any time whenever you are ready, possibly rolling over onto a side for a while before rising up into a seated position. I want to thank you all for joining me today. It has been my pleasure to hold space here for you as we practice together. And I hope for many more times to come. So from my heart to yours, namaste.